Good in. Welcome to JP and Bob's Smorgasbords.
Hi everybody, so welcome. You know, Cameron's about to go back to college and I know a lot of you might be as well, so we wanted to give him an opportunity to run through a recipe that he was doing a lot last year that actually looks pretty amazing, but he's kind of jumping on the same bandwagon that JP and I are on, where, you know, we're looking to drop a few pounds, and actually I've been doing a good job. I think I'm down like 7 or 8, so I'm feeling like things are going in the right direction. So there will be a recipe below. In fact, while you scroll down to see the recipe, if you really like this video and our content, please click subscribe, click the little bell icon to get notifications, and leave a comment about it. But you will notice in the recipe there will be pasta and a slight alteration in case you don't mind eating that. And I'll be back, but I'm really gonna let Cameron run the show today, so it's all you, buddy.
Thank you. So to start this dish, it's a Cajun sausage and chicken pasta, but without the pasta today. I made this way too many times probably last year, and I love it so much that I want to share it all with you. And it uses the Instant Pot. You've seen my uncles use this a lot in the channel, and we'll continue to use it today. So what we're gonna start by doing is turning on the Sauté function of the Instant Pot. And once it gets hot, we're gonna be browning our meat, which is our chicken breast and our kielbasa. Now, a huge mantra that my uncles have used on this channel while the Instant Pot beeps telling me that it's about to turn on is that you have to make do with what you have in the kitchen sometimes. And that's a great example for this recipe. The first time I made it, I didn't have any kielbasa in the house. All I had was Italian sausage. And I forced myself to use it. Obviously, Italian and Cajun really don't mix well, you may think, but when we used it in this recipe, we being my roommates and I, it actually turned out really good, and that was the first time that I made this. So if you don't have any kielbasa and you have some hot or sweet, I used hot, Italian sausage, you can cut that up into small rings and use in this recipe. But today we're staying true to the Cajun origins, and we have some kielbasa here, as well as some chicken, boneless, skinless chicken breasts. So we have a pound of the kielbasa, and we have 2 medium-sized boneless, skinless chicken breasts. All the descriptions and amounts will be in the recipe and the link in the description. So once the Instant Pot becomes hot and it gives us the hot reading, we will be adding a little bit of olive oil into the Instant Pot to brown the meat. So the Instant Pot is hot, time to put in our oil. So I'm using olive oil today, but you can use any vegetable oil or canola oil, just enough to cover the bottom of the Instant Pot. After that, we're gonna throw in our meat. And as you can see, before I say that, I will make sure that this does not splatter in my face. So the meat is in. We're gonna leave it just for a little bit, just so the chicken starts to turn white. We don't wanna fully cook it through all the way. The Instant Pot manual function will take care of the rest of that. Now, as you may see while I stir this meat around, that I do have 3 bowls here. Those will be the other sets of ingredients that we'll be using today. And I did all the measuring and preparing ahead of time because when I was at school, that's exactly what I did. I used a bunch of ingredients here, and I did a bunch of mise en place and got it all ready, because a lot of times I would start cooking the chicken and the sausage. This happened a couple instances in school last year, and as I was ready to add in the next set of ingredients, I realized that I forgot one, and the chicken and sausage was on for longer than it needed to be, and there was a lot of back and forth. I had to run to get my roommate and tell him, hey, come make sure this doesn't burn while I cut up these onions. So this is why we have the mise en place set up today. It makes life a whole lot easier because you can just dump once you're done. It gives you a little bit of time in the beginning for preparing, but it's totally worth it when you're ready to make the final product. So in the first bowl, we have celery. It's about 1/2 cup, and 1 small white onion. Just want to keep mixing up this so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the Instant Pot. So we have our sauce, so we have our celery and our onions. Make sure we get all of that goodness in there. you're gonna want all of it. Now we're gonna be mixing this together until the onions start to become translucent, and then we'll move on to the next bowl. So in our next bowl, we have 4 cloves of garlic. You can mince it yourself, but I used a garlic press. And then we have a half a teaspoon of paprika and a teaspoon and a half of Cajun seasoning. I use Tony Chicheri brand. I don't know if how you pronounce it, but it comes in a green can at the supermarket. You can use any blend, or if even you have your own recipe, you can use that too. So we're gonna dump that in. And then let that go for about another minute before you add in the next bowl. Time to add in the third and final bowl. All it is 1 chopped red bell pepper. I like to chop it up into big pieces. When I first started making this recipe, I would dice it fine, but it really doesn't give you that crunch when you get to the end. So I use nice big size pieces when I chop them, and those just go right in the pot. If you want a little more spice, you can add in a chopped jalapeno pepper, which I have done before. I have also added a chopped habanero pepper, a full one. If you like heat, go for it. That was a little bit too much for me and my roommates because the Cajun seasoning does have a lot of kick to it. Once that's incorporated, it's time to add the chicken broth. Now that's where the biggest variation comes in. Normally at this point, I would add this entire 32-ounce carton of chicken broth, as well as a full pound box of a medium-sized pasta. But since we're not using pasta today, we're gonna only use half of this chicken broth. The rest is used to help boil the pasta when the Instant Pot is cooking. So it's time to add in the chicken broth now. And we're gonna add about half the carton. You'll hear the sizzling start to go down. Now that that's done, it's time to seal the pot. So we're gonna take the lid to our Instant Pot and we're going to put it on. We're gonna set it to sealing, make sure it's set to sealing. We're gonna press the cancel button to turn off the saute function, and then we're going to press manual, and we're gonna set that for 5 minutes. And now we're gonna wait for the Instant Pot to come up to pressure, and then we'll show you the next step. All right, so the Instant Pot is done. It just beeped. We're gonna do a quick release. Ooh, I just burned myself. So the Instant Pot is done. So we are going to flip the lever and do a quick release.
A few moments later.
That looks great. Wow, that looks really good. So we're gonna stir it up just a little bit. The next step now, we're gonna add some Parmesan cheese.
You want a hand with that?
Oh, I don't know, wait. This is a pesky container.
Yeah, there you go.
I like a lot of cheese. You can put as much as you'd like, but I really like the salty, cheesy flavor that the Parmesan brings to this. So we're gonna mix it in just so it melts a little bit and kind of cooks through. Now we're gonna add a cup of heavy cream, just like this. Then we're gonna stir it up one more time.
All right, well, we do have a special guest who's going to come and taste this, and it happens to be Cameron's dad. So Uncle Jimmy Marco's coming over here to tell us what he thinks, and we're going to taste it, because I've actually never had this. Oh, there you go. Now
It's
the Parmesan's
delicious. It
starting
really
to get a
is.
little... All right.
All right.
Let's take a taste. Let him go first.
Ooh, this looks very good. Very warm too. Very creamy, very delicious. Very good, Cameron.
Man, did a good
There you
job. Yeah, can I have a fork?
You can share his fork.
I think I'll take my own. Wow. You're right, the Cajun spice is spicy, right? But not so much that you sit here crying, but you can feel it. I might add the jalapeno for the fresh pepper flavor.
Right.
But that's really incredibly good. Cam, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
I know you're really busy with everything and getting ready to leave, but coming in here and doing this for everybody and for us, I think lets them see some of the great stuff they can eat at school without having to eat a freaking package of dollar ramen.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Thanks, buddy. So,
course.
everybody,
Thank
thanks. Don't forget what we always say.
You can cook anything.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm gonna eat the rest of this now.
Why is it so watery?
You do that.
Because there's too much chicken broth.
Is that the amount you usually put in, or because you?
No,
put
because I
pasta
usually
and
put
such
pasta in it. I put less than I usually put in. I usually put in the whole carton, and I used half.
That whole time my throat was burning because it was so freaking hot.